very thought-provoking rather, and we hope that these would get us to think more and talk more about some of the very important conversations that we need to have. Now we're talking about something else that's quite interesting. Paradigm Initiative has exposed unauthorized websites selling sensitive personal and financial data of Nigerian citizens for as little as 100 naira. This serious breach of privacy and data protection laws pose substantial risks to individuals and the national economy.
Now, on the 16th of March 2024, an investigative report by FIJ.ng revealed that expressverify.com.ng was selling personal data of Nigerian citizens. Despite the swift takedown of the site, Paradigm Initiative seeks legal redress on behalf of Nigerian citizens. Now, in its response to this revelation, the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, has denied the allegations of a data breach. This morning, we're joined by the Executive Director of Paradigm Initiative, Gbenga Sesan. Good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We probably would, start with the response by the NIMC, so at least we have some clarity on what we're talking about here.
Yes.
They have put out a statement. They said that there was no data breach, and of course, steps are being taken to also put things in order. So let's get your response, first of all, for that.
What did you expect? It's not just that there's a data breach. It's that there is another data breach. So Express Verify was the one that, they talked about in March. And we did report it, thanks to FIJ, it was revealed. We reported this to the Data Protection Commission. And, well, I'm not surprised that NIMC got a slap on the wrist. And that, of course, means that they were, willing to look away again. And this is now, Express Verify went offline. And now this is anyverify.com.ng. And guess what? That's not the only one. Anyverify is now offline again because there's noise about it. But there are many more. In fact, in that press statement, NIMC itself tied its own hands by saying, we know there are many websites. And the problem is not Nigerian citizens. That press statement is silly, at least, because it suggests that it is Nigerians who are giving their own data to this false or fake websites. But no, this is NIMC's data, and we now have proof. We got the NIN slip of the minister, Dr. Bosun Tijani. We got the NIN slip of the #1 data regulator in Nigeria, Dr. Vincent Olatunji. We bought them for 100 naira each to demonstrate that this is not a joke.
Wow, this is wild. Give us a picture of the impact of what this means. What does this mean? Because people are hearing, some people are hearing data breach, that their data is being sold for as low as 100 naira. They don't understand. Every day we're making transactions online, but they don't see what the implication of this could mean.
It basically means that your identity is for sale for 100 naira. It's annoying that it's that cheap, but the real implication is that anything that you can do with a NIN slip, don't forget, with a NIN slip, you can get a SIM card. I can become you on your phone. And I worry about some of the implications. Who knows who has a president's SIM card right now if he has a NIN slip? The National Security Advisor. A military general who is leading warfare in a place where they're dealing with terrorists. What if a terrorist bought that NIN slip, got a SIM card in the general's name, and sends a message to the troops and say, meet me 0700, 14 degrees north, just to ambush them? The implications are serious. It means that anybody can claim to be you, they can get your SIM card. And one of the problems that we found is that when we saw this NIN slip, the home address was listed there. Not just the name, the home address. So basically, if I want to kidnap you, thankfully, I don't have any interest in that. I pay for your NIN slip. I see your home address. If you're not there, I pick someone else, and I have that NIN slip. So I create, I get a SIM card in your name and send a text message. Who are you going to be looking for? You're going to be looking for yourself.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's understand clearly here. What you're saying is that you found out that the NIMC's website itself has been breached.
It's not even the website. To be honest, I don't care much about the NIMC website. But the national database, your data, my data, biometric information, home address, personally identifiable information.
And NIMC is the one we have to hold responsible for.
Oh, absolutely. Well, two people, NIMC
okay,
and also the data regulator. The data regulator is the Nigeria Data Protection Commission. And I say this because, it's clear that one of the reasons this keeps happening, by the way, this is not new. It's not this, current NIMC. It's always been a case. INEC lost data. If you remember, there was a time somebody was caught with data, voters' data. By the way, that's one of the things that I believe people who are stealing this data will do. 2027, you will definitely find out that you will be sending text messages as a politician to people to say you have resigned. And of course, they played that game already. We've lost INEC data. We've lost biometric data from telecom companies. One of the laptops used to register by a telecom company many years ago was brought to our office, and we saw biometric data on that laptop. It wasn't wiped off, and it was sold. And that wasn't punished. And all the while, we always report these cases, but somehow people get a slap on the wrist. An airline lost data, including credit card information, of course, hashed, so not as terrible, but addresses and names and things like that. And because we've had all these losses and nothing has been done, NIMC just releases a press statement. And, to make matters even funnier, when we released that statement, some trolls, obviously, you can guess where they came from, were attacking and sharing NIMC's press statement. What those silly people did not realize was that this is a new breach, and this is your own data. So this is not the March breach. This is that as at Friday, as at Saturday, anyverify.com.ng was selling the data of anyone. SSS, NIA, anyone. Now you imagine the implications of that. That all you need is a mobile number. You have someone's mobile number, no verification required. As long as you've paid for it, not only were they selling on their website, they were also selling through chat apps. You send a text, you send a picture to them to show proof of payment, and they send you the NIM slip or whatever you want. And it wasn't just NIM slip. It was NIM slip, passport information, driver's license, and much more.
This is wild. Like, you are mentioning so many things that it's leaving us quite in shock, and it paints a picture of what happens when there's been a data breach. I mean, there's also the aspect of people being able to have access to your bank account and, taking your money. We've struggled with that for years, but if this continues, it might go up a notch. What's the way forward?
First thing that needs to happen is for NIMC to stop being an ostrich. Stop hiding your head in the sand. Everyone who needs to know knows already that you want to save face, and it's fine to save face. Maybe to look like, oh, nothing happened. But even if NIMC refuses to do that, then it is absolutely important for the Data Protection Commission to do its own job. Because right now, NDPC is beginning to look like, like a toy in the hands of everyone. If it was someone else who breached data, NDPC will be backing. But right now, it's NIMC, a sister agency, and they are patting them on the wrist. NDPC will likely release, I hope not, will likely release a press statement to say we will train more people. It's not about training. It's about admit that a problem has happened. Now we've shown you. Your National Commissioner, Dr. Olatunji, we bought his name slip for 100 naira. When we're talking to the media, we had to, clearly hide the identifiable information, and we're not sharing with anyone so that we're not liable. When we get to court, by the way, one other action that needs to be taken is that more Nigerians need to ask government questions. You said you were going to keep us safer. We should give you all of our data. And we took a risk. Remember, COVID was on when the deadline was on by ex-minister Pantami. And people risked their lives to give this data to government. And unfortunately, that data is now available in the hands of criminals.
All right. Let's hold that thought. We'll go on a very quick break. When we'll come back, we'll talk some more about this. Welcome back. Now, before we went on the break, we're looking at the implication of the latest data breach of Nigerians. And we have with us the Executive Director of Paradigm Initiative, Gbenga. Sesan, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
So before we went on that break, we were talking about what the next steps are regarding this data breach. NIMC has denied. You said they should stop applying the ostrich in the sand approach. So what are the next steps?
So, first is that we've written to a lot of government agencies, all of them who are involved, immigration, NDPC itself, NIMC, Attorney General's office, and everyone to basically say, well, we're suing. Because ideally, you need to give them,
notice.
This is funny, by the way. You have to give them notice. We're going to sue you. We're going to sue you for this, and this is what we found. And we've done that. And so the suit continues. The lawsuit continues. And this we're doing because somebody This is not the first time, by the way, we're suing. We've sued before, and NIMC at the time used, magic of there's a new policy to win the case. And the judge was very emphatic. To say at the time, the judge said, make sure you secure this database. Because don't forget, the judges who will hear this case, maybe their name slips have been bought.
Exactly. So when saying that you're suing now, what prayers are you asking the court?
We're asking for a few things. Number one is that this is acknowledged as a problem. Number two is that this website and other websites, and many of these websites, by the way, have registration with the CAC. So you can be sure that these are entities that are legal, doing illegal work, which can easily be punished for it. We're asking for them to be severely punished so that my data, your data, everyone's data will not end up with this data abuse impunity. We're also asking that NIMC ensures that every leak that has happened should be investigated and the findings should be made known to the relevant people. And those that need to be made public should be made public. When NIMC says there's no breach, we understand they're trying to control and not create panic. But at this point, they need to hit the panic button. Otherwise, it's going to be impunity over and over again. This leaks, number one, the people who are selling this data have literally a lot of information. So even when you block their website or they take the websites online, they already have this data. So it's either they're connecting through your API, which means that there's a problem with the way you give access to people, or they've scraped this data, which is very possible. So it means that if you're not careful, NIN becomes a useless number. It becomes as useless as all those fake birth certificates people used to go get, because now you can buy anyone's NIN for 100 naira.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but so just to be sure, when you say the data leaked, I mean, help us understand better. Is it that we have a situation where there's hackers, that have basically broken into, that database and have been able to access the database? Because, that also puts, fear in, every Nigerian with regards banks. How safe is the banking sector? There has been that claim that we have a really, really safe banking sector, but this doesn't put any, this puts some fear in me.
We've seen what happened recently with people literally stealing billions of naira by creating bank accounts in people's names. You know how they're able to do that? If I get your name slip and I'm able to do that with the 100 naira, you can imagine what I will do when I have a lot of resources to open a bank account for you. We recently had to fight on behalf of someone whose bank opened a domiciliary account in their name. That could have been used for fraud. Thankfully, they won the case, lawsuit, 8 million naira in their favor, and we hope that more Nigerians will speak up about this. So the implication of this is that to be honest, I would wish that this was a situation of a hack where somebody had illegal access and so you can block it. But this looks to me like there's an inside job.
Wow.
Because if it's not an inside job, why is it that every time one website shuts down, there's another coming up? Is it worst case scenario that this entire database has been compromised and sold? Hopefully not. Or is it that some people on the inside gave illegal access and people were able to buy and sell? Or, as NIMC claimed in March, that they have licensed agents who have access to their data, did these agents then give secondary access to people who used illegally? If it's the case, then NIMC knows where the leak came from.
Regardless of, which area you're looking at it from, it's very scary.
It is.
And I'm hoping that we can see a finality to this very soon in the favor of Nigerians. But in 30 seconds, whilst this is being resolved, how can we better protect ourselves online?
Better protect yourself online. Generally, I'll say three things. One, in terms of whatever needs password access, please create a more secure password. Something in your local language. Stop using birthdays and names of loved ones. Something in your local language, something long that has special characters and numbers. Even if you forget, don't worry about forgetting the password. If you forget, you can always get another password. That's number one for anything that requires a password. Secondly, be careful how you give your data to everyone. You go to a public building, they ask for your name, your home address, your mobile number. They don't need your home address to enter a building. And
hotels especially.
I'm telling you. And then the third thing is your name. Now that we have a challenge with the name, anything that is connected to your name, please change the password. Your bank account. You can't change your name, unfortunately, because it's on your passport and things like that, but be more conscious of your data. And finally, please sue if you find out that your data has been abused. Somebody's bank opened a domiciliary account in their name. They went to report.africa, RIPOTI.africa, a website that we manage as Paradigm Initiative. They reported. We sued on their behalf. The bank has closed and they got 8 million naira. Stop thinking that you don't want a case against somebody.
Right.
Sue them. We need to be more litigious.
Gbenga, Sesan, thank you so much for your time with us.
Thank you.